Hi guys, welcome, welcome. Have a moment of silence while we're waiting for some people to go on. Let me turn the volume down on my phone. How are you guys doing today? It's Thursday. I sing all my intros I noticed. Come on in, come on in. How has your week been, guys? Mine has been fruitful. Let's say fruitful. That's a good word. Busy, like I'm sure all of you are. But I'm glad to see you guys all signing in here. I can't see the chat for some reason right now on my laptop while I'm speaking to you here, but I did pull up my phone so that I can try to interact with you guys that way. So as you're coming in, grab yourself a drink, grab yourself some tea, get yourself a pen and some paper because we have a cool activity actually to do. I'll give you some time later once we get to that assessment to get all of your supplies. This topic is so interesting, and like I said, if you guys follow me over on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere, I nerd out about this topic, okay? And when I say nerd out, I don't mean that in any derogatory type of way. Anytime I talk about body types, when we get into depth about how the body works, why things show up, right? Any kind of dysfunction, any kind of symptoms, any kind of dis-ease, right? Or disease is a dis-ease. So basically the body not flowing in the way that it was created to. So I hope you stay with me through this. It's a little different than what you're used to. And bear with me because you know your girl's not the best at technology, but I should change my language when I say that. What you speak out is what you are. So I am going to be friends with technology, but I kind of have a PowerPoint presentation that I have to present to you through this assessment that we're going to do through all the different body types that there are. So I hope that I can share my screen with you properly. I did practice, so hopefully it'll work. And we will get to the topic at hand in just a moment. I'm going to allow some more people to come in here before I get started. And no worries if you're watching this on the replay, that is great. You'll actually be able to stop and start the video in different points. If there's something that I go over that you want to study more on your own, please do. Everything that I'm presenting is backed by factual information, and everything is science-backed that I present. But if there's something that you're not sure about or you question for your own health, please check with your healthcare provider or go ahead online and do your own research. Since I don't work with you personally one-on-one intimately and know all the ins and outs of your health history, take what I say with a grain of salt. It is, like I said, 100% truth, all backed by science. But go ahead and do your own research. If anything I talked to you about today strikes a chord and you think that it needs to be looked into, please do reach out to me if you guys wanted to work together one-on-one. I do health coaching one-on-one, also in group settings. So we'll get to that later. So let me just say hi to a few people as you're coming in. Hi, Bradford. Hi, Olga. Where are you guys watching from tonight? Fill me in, fill me in. Where in the world are you? Hi, Jacob. Hi, Maureen. Hi, George. Okay, the leopard. I'm what they call skinny fat. I want to lose 20 pounds. I'm not sure what that means, skinny fat, but if you do have some weight you want to lose, this information is great for that. There is so much misinformation out there about how to lose weight, how the body systematically loses weight. A lot of myths that people think, oh, if I work out hard, I can eat whatever I want. Or, you know, I'm going to work out this particular area of my body. That's where the fat is going to be removed from. And that's not at all how the body works. So hopefully you'll gain some wisdom here through this live. How are you today, Vivis? Kyle, good evening. Kristen, Cayman Islands. Wow, beautiful. Jealous. I'm so jealous. You know me. I love the warmth. I love the warm weather. Here in New Jersey, it is getting quite chilly. A little too chilly for my liking. But actually, it's pleasantly warm during the day. It's just at night that it gets a little chilly. So I just bundle up. Okay. Greetings from Brooklyn. Okay, so I think that we are all coming in here at a nice pace. And like I said, if you're here watching the replay, comment in the chat. Tell me where you're watching from. Hashtag replay. And now my comments just came up. Great. Okay, so now I see you guys. King Link. Hello, my friends. How are you? Nice to hear from you. Oh, no, I'm going to turn my ringer off since I hear that my text messages are still on. California. King Link, I'm so jealous. Where in California are you at currently? I'm going to be coming out there for some business things, but I would love to live out there or Florida or in the Carolinas, somewhere where it's warm and I can wear flip-flops at all times and do all the grounding. Okay, guys. All right, so let's get into the task at hand, which is going over what is your body type, okay? This is such a gem. It's so much information. I'm going to try to speak through each slide quickly so that we can get to the assessment and wrap up at the end with any questions you might have over and over. So I'm glad you're doing great. Been losing weight, great. We'll have to, and when we get to the Q&A portion, we'll have to go over some of what you're working on and what you're doing. That's giving you the success. Okay, so let's see what we can do here as far as sharing my screen. So we are going to add the screen share, guys. Pray for me. We're going to turn Guys, can you hear me? I'm so sorry. Let me know if you can hear me now. Guys, I told you I'm getting used to this. Can you hear me? Sorry, guys. Technology, I'm telling you, we will be friends. I'm going to bring the screen back up. And I want you to let me know if you can hear me. We'll get through this, guys. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me? Okay, I think you guys can hear me now. I'm so sorry about that. So let's take the slides back a few. So we went over why we commit. Okay, health is an act of love for yourself, your own responsibility, our foundation and ceiling. Health is the trunk of the tree of life. Health is about the journey, not about the perfection. Health is about daily growth. Health is more than wealth. Health is everything, okay? And what I said, just to quickly go through, I know these slides were up for a while, so I apologize for that technical difficulty. But why we commit to our health, right? Okay, urgent versus current. Urgent being something like, I'm hungry right now. I'm upset right now. I don't like the job I'm in right now. You know, connecting into your emotional self and your feelings versus rational thought, okay? So that looks like something like, I'm hungry, that's an example, versus I'm healthy. So your future self wants to be healthy. That's your long-term goal, okay? So you need to think in that mindset, like I said, that 100% of the time. So you're making that choice and you're not looking back. So in that moment, check in with yourself. Ask yourself, is this an urgent problem? Like, are you in an urgent issue with your health, or are you in a current situation with your health, okay? So some things that cause this, I would say, chronic disease, chronic illness would be an urgent, but a cause that may be something that you need to check in with, or, you know, if you're dealing with a grieving situation, a loss, a traumatic situation, okay? Those are not permanent, they will end, and then you will be able to restore, okay? So next, let's have some fun. Let's get back to this slide here where I was asking you guys to look at the shapes, okay, of these bodies. We have the gal in the green, the orange and the blue, and the gentleman in the blue shorts. And if you are a male and you are looking at the female body saying, I'm none of those, I'm the guy in the blue shorts, know that that is not necessarily true. We're actually just looking at the body shapes here, okay? So let's start by having some fun. We're going to be doing the assessment in the next coming slides. We're going to go through a root cause assessment is what it's called. This form asks very specific questions and gives us deep insights into what your body is trying to tell you. So as we go through each section, keep a tally of how many apply to you. So if you don't have a paper and pen handy at the moment, now would be the time to grab one. I'll give you a few minutes as we're all observing here the body shapes. And as a holistic practitioner, I don't need to, you know, run labs on you, okay, to see if you have a hormonal imbalance or a metabolic imbalance. A trained eye can identify these things, okay? That's why working with a health professional, health coach, holistically is usually the best route to go. And you'll be able to identify actually intuitively with yourself because you're in your own body, okay? So you're gonna be your best advocate. You're gonna be able to notice very quickly, you know, when something is amiss. There's people that they get normal labs, and I'm grateful for people who get normal labs, because all this means is that there is some sort of a dysfunction that the body, or a symptom that the body is trying to get through to you, but it is not a disease. It's not a diagnosable condition at that point. Okay, so you know, even if you are at the point of disease, it is reversible for sure. It is not the end. You're not stuck there. It is something that can be looked into further and reversed. Okay, so go ahead and write down your first reaction, A, B, C, or D. So we want to look at the whole story here while you're looking to see what parts of your metabolism are crying the loudest. Realizing that our organ systems are many, and they work together. They have huge thresholds, and that means that it could take a lot of damage before it actually shows up in the body. So it shows up on a lab testing. Again, it's not too late. Don't get scared about me talking about blood work and labs and things like that. In some cases, you can have an underlying issue for decades and not even know. So again, like I said, once you have your letter written down, type that in the chat for me. How many A's do we have at first sight? How many B's? How many C's? How many D's do we have? See what you think. So these shapes represent specific hormonal imbalances. And some of you might be an overlap of more than one right now, a combination of two. So I'm going to walk you through these parts of the form, the assessment form, that help us break down a little bit further what it is each one represents. Okay, so if you're a body type A, then you have some of these symptoms. I think I was definitely an adrenal body type for sure. I had a C-section with my twins. I had no idea how much of a role my hormones were playing in it. It affected my mental health, my relationships, honestly, how I handled stress with having 3 children and a full plate. You might be a night person. Let me plug into my computer. Just give me 1 second. I just want to make sure we don't lose any connection here. Sorry, guys. Again, your girl's getting better with technology. We are becoming good friends. All right. Yeah. Adrenal body type. You might be a night person. You might have a hard time falling asleep. You might have a hard time calming down when you are keyed up, emotional. You might have high blood pressure. You might have headaches, especially when you exercise. You might feel wired, jittery when you drink coffee. Clench your teeth at night. All kinds of things that you can experience. Yawning in the afternoon. So just take a few moments and go through the assessment here. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, you are in a good position. Don't feel like you missed out on anything. You can pause this video and screenshot this and take down the numbers and where you feel you score in these areas. So what people might say as you guys are doing this, you know, focus on what it is you're reading, but I'm going to give you some information. So what people might say is, I used to be able to do everything. I used to be able to eat anything I wanted to maintain my weight or actually lose weight. And now those things are causing me to gain weight. And the reason that this is happening is because there's a switch. Essentially that flips and people become cortisol resistant, okay, in this adrenal body type. So just like if you eat too much sugar all the time, you can become insulin resistant. If you have too much stress all the time, you can become cortisol resistant. And when you become cortisol resistant, you essentially have to make more cortisol, okay, to create the same response. Okay, so again, if any of this information is like, what is she talking about? I've never heard of, you know, insulin resistance, cortisol resistance, but you are resonating with this type, I would suggest you looking further into it, or ask your healthcare professional, your holistic health naturopath, functional doctor of medicine. Okay, I know it's a lot of information. So guys, if this sounds like you, type me in the chat, or A. So some causes of adrenal fatigue, or adrenal body types in general, are going to be infections in the gut. It could be emotional stress. It could be chronic ruminating thoughts, I would say. You know, when you can't stop thinking, and you're always thinking, and you're thinking of the past, of what happened in the past, and you can't let that go. And then, you know, you cause yourself anxiety by looking forward at things and trying to control situations and outcomes that haven't even occurred yet. Abusive relationships. It could be an abusive work environment. See, some people don't realize the work environment is super toxic to them, and so could your home environment. So it's important to make those shifts where you can in your power. And none of this is to overwhelm you. It's just to shed light on not only systematically with the body why you would have adrenal fatigue, or, you know, adrenal body type, but some of your mental, emotional, and, you know, just lifestyle environments that could be causing issues. Okay, as for women, our physical body goes through a lot. We bear children, we raise children, let's face it, because most men are happy, you know, with work and, you know, coming home to the family. And I'm not saying this is all the time, and just taking care of those things. We oftentimes, a disproportionate amount of times, our domestic responsibilities are off disproportionately. And then you add in the career. Depending on what your career is or your school workload, it produces a lot of cortisol. So eventually the system starts to break down and become resistant. So this leads to the next thing about adrenal body types that I wanted to mention: exercise. Okay, this is a big deal. Exercise makes this worse, right? So we've learned that the more you exercise with this type of presentation, the worse problem gets. Okay, the problems don't get better with excessive exercise, I would say. That's why a huge part of our weight loss is really shifting to more of that calming parasympathetic cycle and getting more into that healing movement. So if you follow me on Instagram, I talked about the healing movement, the joyful movement that we encourage in our programs, and how that can look like just whatever brings you joy. So dancing around the kitchen, spending time with friends, kids, an animal, a puppy, me. Yeah, I know I do teach a aerobic and athletic style of yoga, especially when it's heated. But there are very good restorative yoga classes you can take, and some that actually focus more on breath work. So, you know, I've seen people in the gym just killing themselves and getting nowhere, and their bellies are starting to enlarge. And you could even see, you know, weight gain through this. You know, so it becomes a very stressful situation for some people. So a lot of times people will do things that actually backfire to try to control this. Instead of identifying the root causes, we're conditioned to think that the more we do, okay, try to fix the problem, the closer to a resolve we'll have. So in these cases, we're going to have to unravel the stress response. We can't do that by adding more stress and inflammation to the body. Okay, so like I said, with the excessive thinking, with the excessive exercise, with trying to control and trying to remedy things on a surface level without getting to that root cause. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information in a short amount of time. But I don't want to keep you long per body type here. So if you kept track of your score here, just tally that down and keep your pen and paper in front of you, because as I go through the next body types, you may find that some of these overlap. And some of these could also, you could be two different body types, to be honest with you. So next, ovarian body type. So that's when you have excess estrogen, and this can be true in men as okay. This is typically classified by an excess of estrogen, and so some of the symptoms that may be experienced through this are depression, mood swings, crave chocolate, especially ladies when you have your PMS period, and you have some, for women, you have breast tenderness. A lot of the time, men could also. It's associated with your cycle. Most of the time, women, you can have variations in your cycle, ladies. Endometriosis, uterine fibroids is a big one that I hear. Let's think. Breast fibroids, benign masses, painful dryness and itching in certain areas. So in regards to weight for this body type, most people are excess estrogen, with excess estrogen, gain weight around their hips, thighs, and the buttocks. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there for a second. I know I'm talking a lot, and this slide does say women only, but you know, there are times that we've seen men with excess estrogen and having tender breasts and weight gain in those areas. So take it with a grain of salt, men. Continue to research, speak to your healthcare practitioner about it. But for women, some have excess facial or body hair, hot flashes, night sweats in menopausal females is very, very common, thinning skin. So this is a specific presentation for those who have excess estrogen. But again, it's not uncommon that men may experience some of these things as well. So I'll give you another few minutes here. I'm going to get myself a little drink of water. I did go a little longer with the adrenal body type. Sorry, guys, it was my first slide and I got really into it. And like I say, I love to nerd out about nutrition. I love to nerd out about the body. And I just want to present to you as much information as I can in our short time together. And like I said, this is a big topic, and I think I may do future videos about this in general, in specific areas, right? So we could talk about these body types as they pertain to exercise alone, okay? And how us doing the wrong type of exercise actually stunts our progression in our health journey, okay? And all of this is not to overwhelm you. This is to educate you, to shed light on these situations. It is not to discourage you. It is not to overwhelm you, okay? So let's all take a breath, get a little drink of water. As we head into the next two body types. Everybody good? Okay, good. So next, we got our gal in blue, and this is the thyroid body type. It's in the thyroid body type, very commonly, 1 out of 5 women in North America have thyroid issues, okay? So this is very, hits very close to home with me, even with my own immediate family. We have a lot of thyroid issues in the family. So something related to the thyroid body type can be these symptoms: mentally sluggish, reduced energy. So you know you're fatigued a lot. Difficulty losing weight, a sensitivity to cold or poor circulation, constipation, excessive hair loss, coarse hair. Headaches in the morning that wear off during the day, losing your eyebrows, especially the inner third, seasonal sadness. We might also see swelling in extremities, especially the hands, like carpal tunnel. We may see cracking in your heels, dry skin. These are common symptoms for the thyroid body type, okay? So the important thing is to realize that the thyroid is often overlooked because for a while the thyroid blood work can be misleading. Okay, so remember blood work, when you just get standard blood work with, let's say, a medical doctor, it is a snapshot. Okay, it's just a snapshot of where you are, you know, where you had been that week, where you are, you know, that day, and you cannot take blood work as the end all be all. Okay, some parts of the thyroid could be compensating for others. This might be enough to get a normal lab, but not enough to adequately determine what needs to be done with the thyroid. Often this issue is caused by autoimmunity. And when we really look at it, autoimmunity is triggered by stress and your food choices. Okay, so a lot of people think if you have an autoimmune issue, that it is all just, people think it's just like, oh, my mom had this, so I'm gonna have this, or you know, something I developed, it's something I have, and then they claim that over themselves. Okay, a lot of times it's triggered by stress in your lifestyle choices and your food choices. Doing something like our program, the Reset program that I've been talking about, all of these things that we teach you, the nutrition piece we give you, the lifestyle pieces we give you, they all help reset, as in the name of the program, all of these things, and it recalibrates your gut, your immune system, also your stress response, so we can correct these imbalances, okay? So what are our numbers here? I think that I also definitely was a C in my lifetime. Actually, I think I'm a recovering C still, even today, to be honest with you. It is something that I work on. It's part of my lifestyle. It's part of my choices. It's part of my holistic health, okay? So I'm going to give you another minute or two to tally up your numbers. Again, replay, you guys are in a good position. You guys can pause the video, screenshot these slides, tally these up. If you are thinking of anyone in your life that you love, okay, a grandma, a mother, a sister, an aunt, a friend, that you feel that they could use some help in these areas, or you want to bring to light to them some of the information that we're sharing here, be the conduit, okay? Be the light. Share it with them because you love them, okay? No better act of love than to share information with people you love. All right, so next we've got the liver type, okay? Another big organ in our body that's affected, that causes resistant weight loss, is the liver, okay? The liver has over 800 million functions, okay? That's a lot, okay? 800 million functions. It's one of the most revered and important organs, especially in Chinese medicine. In studying, you know, the body and how the systems work together, it was kind of ingrained in our education and in our minds just how much we need to prioritize and love our liver, okay? So that's why excessive drinking, stress, things like that are going to really be toxic to the liver. It's also when people have liver dysfunction and the gallbladder, they work together, so they're hand in hand. So when they have liver and gallbladder too, you know that they are needing to be cleansed, okay? You know that organ that they tell you we don't need is the gallbladder. It's there for a reason. Yes, we can live and sustain without it, but both of them are important to keep well. So I am going to just pause here for a second because this one, there are lots of numbers. I have a lot of information that I want to give you. So when people have liver dysfunction, and when they say liver, sorry guys, when they say liver, they, you know, sometimes they'll be meaning, you know, like my stomach, or I have pains in my gut. They're totally different things. They get very confused. I don't know why that happens. But when people have liver dysfunction, and when they have weight gain, some of the symptoms are pain between the shoulder blades, actually. And your stomach might be upset by greasy food. So that's where I go back to what I was just saying. You know, liver, gallbladder, people get a lot of belly pain, so they think that that's where the issue is, but really it's your liver and gallbladder. Greasy, shiny stools. Okay, so we're supposed to be looking at our poop, guys. I'm just going to put it out there. We're going to talk about poop for a minute. Get it all out. Laugh if you need to. Yes, I set the poop emoji in the chat if you need to. But our stools are very important to monitor. Okay, that's something that we need to bring attention to. Nausea, seasickness, morning sickness, light or clay-colored stools actually are an indicator. Dry skin, the skin that peels off your feet, especially a headache over the eyes. Gallbladder attacks is an obvious, you know, a bitter taste in your mouth. Sometimes people might be really intoxicated when drinking. If they have a history of drug abuse or alcohol abuse or hepatitis A, history of chemical sensitivities, tobacco or smoke exposure, diesel exposure, for the right side of the rib cage, hemorrhoids, veins, exposure to artificial aspartame. Okay, guys, that stuff is in all of the diet drinks, our gum, everything. Okay, it is toxic. Also, any kind of chronic fatigue. We can always look at to improve our liver and gallbladder in those situations. So there could be a combination, again, of these things going on, but typically presentation of this person is going to be what we often refer to as beer belly. Okay, so if you look at the guy in the slide, he's seemingly in shape in most areas, but not the gut. Okay, so some call it a pot belly. So they're going to be thin and normal everywhere else, but they're going to retain a lot of fluid in their abdomen. In our programs, we're always talking about and assessing drainage. And when I say drainage, I don't mean just you're blowing your nose or having mucus come up with a cough. But you know, drainage systems in the body need to be addressed a lot of the time with people. We don't realize that when our primary and secondary drainage systems are not producing properly, that it backs up and has to go somewhere, and then the organs start shutting down. Okay, so what's your body type, guys? I know I went through that kind of fast, but it's a lot of information. So I just want to make sure that we're all caught up here. Again, watch the replay if you want to go back and sit down in quiet without me speaking over it, and, you know, take into account everything we discussed and rescore. Yeah, I'll give you a minute here. Okay, so if you want to share in the chat, A, B, C, D, do that. Was it different from what you thought initially? Was it different from what, you know, you're intuitively thinking here? I'm also curious about if anyone feels like none of these really spoke to them. You can put that in the chat as well. I'm sure most of you can self-identify with at least one of these in some way. So you could see how powerful this tool is. That's why I was so excited to nerd out about this. And that you're not crazy and you're not alone. For, you know, thinking like, okay, I'm doing all the right things. I'm implementing the exercise and I'm implementing the healthy eating, but you're not addressing your stress. You're not addressing maybe where you need supplementation, your drainage pathways, your organs functioning properly. Okay, so again, before we get too far into disease or the dis-ease of the body, the body is great at warning us, okay? Just like a light comes on in your car, that you need gas or oil change. These symptoms that we went over for each body type are our warning system, okay? So it's important to pay attention to them and prioritize your health and really get checking into what your body's trying to communicate with you. And now that you can identify this, how do we tackle this? Okay, so how do we reverse engineer this problem that we're having so that we can actually start feeling much better? And you can do so much. You can do so much quicker than you're armed. Do so much more than what you think you're armed with. Okay, the information that you have. So I would love to have you share what your biggest takeaway has been so far. I have a few more slides of things I just kind of want to show you. But in the comments, you can share what your biggest takeaways were so far. Did anything speak to you? Did anything resonate with you? Do any of these symptoms mean anything to you personally? Before we get into how we kind of get into the science of how we take care of all of this. Our bodies have several glands that most people are not aware of unless you are in the industry or if you have studied this. We have the adrenal glands, which we usually identify as stress glands. And with the adrenal glands, they're responsible for mainly regulating cortisol and epinephrine to handle the stress response in the body. But it produces lots of hormones, and many people's adrenals are working overtime, okay? I know I exhausted mine. I had no adrenal function when I started looking into functional medicine and holistic health. I was chronically exhausted and, again, short-tempered, very emotional. It's amazing when things are awry in the body, how it presents itself in so many ways. But we don't stop there. We go upstream, right? So you see on this slide, the adrenal glands are at the bottom, that the pituitary glands get its message from the hypothalamus in the brain. That's part of the brain there. So they all interconnect with each other. So a really simple explanation of the hypothalamus is that it's like the thermostat of many systems in your body. It regulates things like your temperature, your appetite, and mood. Okay, so you can see how quickly, if your adrenal glands or your pituitary gland are not functioning optimally and we're producing way too much cortisol, how that could affect your brain and how it will, really affect all the different parts of your day, your mood, like I said, your appetite, sleep, all the things. So like I said, it regulates some of the cravings that you have, the sense of fullness in your body, your thyroid metabolism, and again, your adrenal glands. So if you want to fix your adrenals, then in some cases we have to go a little further back than the gland itself. So what most people do is just giving you adrenal support, identify you as the adrenal body type. The problem with that is that it's not actually fixing the problem, right? So we're not getting to that root cause. You're masking the problem. It's kind of like it's the house that's too warm, so I opened up the windows kind of explanation that I would give. That's a temporary solution by lowering your temperature in your home. But the smart thing to do is to change the thermostat, right? Because that's going to change everything. So that's the analogy we like to give for implementing your lifestyle changes. That's going to reset your thyroid by working through, I'm sorry, text messages again. I thought I turned the ringer off. So what we want to work on at that level of the hypothalamus is to reset the thyroid, your estrogen, your testosterone, and cortisol response. This is why we incorporate so many different pieces into the programs that we offer, whether it's the metabolic program we have, the wellness intensive, the reset. or we're just on a call. Okay, that's why we do discovery calls, and that's why we do personalized health coaching, is because you are a bio individual. This situation might be true for you and not for your brother or sister or your mom. It may need tweaking. It may need, like I said, supplementation. There are so many factors. Okay, the body is amazing and different, but also the same. So that's why we need individual care. So in this slide here, I'd like to show the division of the body and the different systems. So we have a system in our body called the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight nervous system. And we also have a part of our nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system. And what I teach my clients to do is to get in the state of rest, digest, and repair. Okay? Restore, revive, reproduce, regenerate. We can't do that when we're in fight or flight state. Okay, and that's, again, for me, when I was in the adrenal body type, that was something that was really hard for me to regulate. Once I got into that fight or flight mode, I will admit it, your girl was a hot mess. Okay, it does. It's a system in the body that cannot be calmed in that moment. Okay, it takes a while for your body to regulate and to get back into the parasympathetic. So we go into this more deeply in our programs, and so your organs can start to really heal. Okay, there are lots of different methods to use. The easiest way to regulate is to do breath work. That's why a lot of times when people are upset, you see them, okay, but we need to really get into real breath work practices. You know, diaphragm breathing, yogic breathing, you know, the deep breaths that we're supposed to be taking. The world in general is not breathing properly. So as a yoga instructor, I really focus in on breath work. And it is in some of our programs that we give you step-by-step breath work assignments, because it is never taught to us how to breathe. The body is great, and God, He designed it to breathe on its own, but a lot of times we're not breathing properly. Practices like this signal the healing to all of our internal organs, okay, and tune into our nervous system, just like you would tune a guitar. We want to shift into that parasympathetic state. We also do that by leveraging sunlight exposure, so that's why I love nature. That's why it's so calming to me to go out in the sun, in the warmth. And it also helps with the circadian rhythm, okay? So sun rises, we awaken, and then as the sun goes down, I could go off a tangent about this, but as the sun goes down, we're supposed to get to resting, okay? So allowing the body to go through that cycle will help you get into a parasympathetic place and sleep a lot better. Again, another video, another topic for another time, sleep in general. The circadian rhythm is your body's internal clock and your exposure to light that helps regulate that. Okay, melatonin is one of the most important immune supporting hormones. So it's not just for sleep. Melatonin helps your brain detox, balance your estrogen. It's for your immune support, like I mentioned, and this is one of the reasons they're finding that children are having less issues with the coronavirus, because their melatonin production is much higher. Okay, so that's a great thing. The body's detox response is stronger because of this, so they don't get that response, that respiratory response that the coronavirus has been presenting in some people. But most adults and some teens, and unfortunately it's getting younger and younger, some children stare at computer screens all day, and they stay up late at night working on computers or on their phones, and that creates a significant increase in cortisol and a significant decrease in melatonin. Without adequate melatonin production, we can't physically or psychologically repair and regenerate ourselves, okay? Personally, I love the Aura Ring. It's O-U-R-A. The Aura Ring maps out your sleep scores, and we notice that when you have an Oura ring and you are doing these things where you're on your blue light devices, especially later in the day, that the scores drop considerably on the and if you're not wearing the blue light glasses, like I really should have mine on now, I normally do, but with all of the technology things that I have going on here, I wanted to be able to focus in. But especially, you know, like I said, if you're on your devices 1 hour before bedtime, then it's a huge drop in numbers when you're looking at your numbers on the Oura ring. So I don't think that I'm going to get into the heart coherence training that we offer in this stream. I probably will do a whole nother teaching on this. It's a powerful tool if you want something to look into. This week, I'm going to try to go live mostly on Thursday evenings. So if you're liking this kind of content, join us on Thursday evenings. And it'll tie back into, you know, our programs that we offer with Thrive Health and Wellness, and you know, all of the heart behind it, the information, the research-backed science that we give you, not just what to eat and how much to exercise. Okay. So if you want to work on clarity, these are some questions here that I had put in. Why do you want to be healthy? Clarity allows us to run into the direction of our dreams, right? So when we're clear on our purpose of who we are, what we want in life, how we want to feel, it allows us to run into that direction, okay? It gives us purpose. It gives us that oomph, that unction, okay, to want to do the work, because it is a task that you take on to change all of these behaviors. Some of them have been ingrained into us from our environments that we were raised in, and we do have to completely reverse our psychology and our health in a lot of these areas. So I wrote have more confidence in decisions and no more guessing with your health. Okay. So again, if you'd like to check back in, share your biggest takeaways so far, I would really appreciate the feedback. I know I'm sharing a lot of information in a short amount of time, throwing a lot at you for you to digest, pun intended. And I also just want to touch on my coaching and accountability coaching that I have available. If any of you have ever been on a diet, you may have been, I'm sorry, I'm not distracted. I'm trying to look at some of your comments. I'm getting some notifications over here on my phone. I apologize. So you might be already able to appreciate where we're going with this, okay? Why working with a health coach is important, not just to know, like I said, how much you can eat and how much you can exercise and get away with, but why you want to make this your why. Like I started with the Michael Jordan quote, deciding that this is your path, deciding that this is something that you want your lifestyle to be, so you can be healthy and thriving and clear and make a difference in the world, right? Because we're all here for a reason. And the clearer we are, the more we can serve, the more we can show up in the world, okay? That's most important. We're here to love one another and we're here to serve each other. What the importance of coaching, in my opinion, and I know a coach and you think I'm selling myself to you, but again, I'm selling you on you, is to help you create new healthy habits at last, okay? So think of a coach for soccer, think of a coach for football or any other sport. They're the guide on the side, okay? We give you the information, the accountability. We give you the team playing, right, with our Facebook groups so that we're in a community together. We're doing life together. But ultimately, it helps you create your goals and your focus in your health. We are finding your blind spots, okay? Whether if that's not having education in the areas you want to improve or things that maybe you're making excuses for. I like to point those out because I love you, not to, discourage you or put you down. And that brings me into positive reinforcement. I would be your biggest cheerleader. We are your biggest cheerleaders. We want to see you thrive. We want to see you change. The transformations that we're seeing through people in our programs is so humbling. It brings so much joy to my heart and so much love into my heart when I get a text or a phone call or a crying, emoji, like, I did it, or I have this result, or I went up points on my sleep, or, I meal prepped for the first time. It was awesome. I shared a recipe with someone. I connected with someone that I met when I went to yoga, and now they're my best friend. I mean, it ripple effects into everything in your life, guys. And lastly, I know the 4 steps here. We want you to be committed to you. We want to go over the causes and the issues like we went over with all the body types. We want you to be coachable, okay? So we want it to be a relationship that we form. We want it to be, like I said, a life transformation, which then produces your clarity, which then gives you the confidence, the energy, the sustainability to show up in the world for what you're meant to do, what you're meant to be here for, and to love others more and serve others more. So thank you, guys. I don't know. Let me go out of here and back into here and shut this down. All right, guys, I'm back. And I have a few minutes left. It's 8 o'clock. I wanted to try to keep it under an hour, but I did want to get through all of the information. Again, I suggest you go back, watch this again. I know it was a lot. I couldn't really break it down anymore into different videos because we were talking about 4 different body types, and they all kind of coincided with each other, and it's great to see them side by side because it gives you a snapshot as to how some of them can overlap and how some of the symptoms can correlate with different types of bodies. I have that Justin Bieber song, that Essence song. Anybody else know that song? I want to know, guys, how I can help you, how I can serve you better. If you have any topics that are burning that you want some more information on, that you'd like me to do some lives or some videos or teachings on, put them in the comment section and I will come through with the info. Knowledge is power. Okay, I don't see any other comments. I can scroll back up, I think. No, this is not going to allow me. I'm using a different platform to kind of share my screen, and it doesn't exactly have the same functionality as YouTube. So again, your girl's learning all the technology things so that I can bring you all the content, all the knowledge to make you be your best you. Hi, Rhino, how are you? Jafar, can you do fasting on this program? Yes, we actually implement some fasting on the programs. Not fasting to starve yourself, not fasting in the sense that you're punishing yourself for what you ate and you're not going to eat the next day. We do it in a safe, healthy way, and you are not going without food all day long. Okay, so intermittent fasting is more so what we recommend. Again, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. But yes, intermittent fasting is a powerful tool. Not just for weight loss. Yes, you will see weight loss with intermittent fasting, but intermittent fasting in a nutshell, because it is a topic all in itself, but intermittent fasting is a great tool for healing the systems of the body, okay? Giving your digestive system a rest, giving your liver, gallbladder a rest, okay? So that you can free up that energy that the body would be using to run all of those systems to do other things, okay? You'll see a burst of energy you'll notice over time with doing intermittent fasting. Burst of energy during your fasting windows because your body is able to function at its optimal level without having to run other systems, okay? So you'll notice brain clarity, like I said, sleep better, creativity, you know, all those things. So working out fasted is great, but again, I'll nerd out and I'll go off into a tangent on that topic. So I'm going to write intermittent fasting down for another topic because it is a hot topic and we do implement them in our programs. Okay, any other health or wellness questions that you may have? I'm going to give another 2 minutes here. I hope you guys found some of this information helpful. I know it was a lot of talking, not a lot of interacting. Noah, when did your weight loss journey start? So again, I will give you a very short synopsis. I had 3 children, and my last pregnancy was twin pregnancy. I'm not blaming the twin pregnancy for all the weight gain, but let's just say with the added stress of, you know, having 2 children on top of our oldest, 3, 1 baby went to 3, not prioritizing my health, not having good nutrition, not optimizing sleep, and also, you know, just being stressed out, you know, not journaling, not being mindful. Some of the systems of my body weren't functioning properly, and I didn't know how that affected all the systems of the body, right? So yeah, in 2014, I just made that decision. I said, like Michael Jordan quote, that's it. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I want to make this a lifestyle change, a lifestyle shift. Then the clarity started to come and I could see my path and where I wanted to go. Not only in my personal life, but in my professional life, career, and how I want to show up in the world as a human. You know, I want to be a bearer of light and lover of souls, you know, all the people. We are a collective. We are meant to do life together, and we're supposed to do it in great love. I do not speak Spanish. Hola. Wait, let me remember. Hola, ¿cómo te llamas? Me llamo Karen. ¿Y tú? That's probably all I remember from Spanish class. So on that note, I appreciate all who hung out. I know it's a little different content than you're used to. But this is what I'm passionate about, guys. Health and wellness holistically is my passion and my life's purpose and my calling, and I'm so excited to do this work. I'm so humbled that God graced me with the ability to do this work and to watch people heal from the inside out and restore hope. So that's what I want to do for you guys, and I hope that you found some of this information helpful. I would encourage you to go over to thrivehw.com. That is our site. All of the information I went over, we implement into our programs. Right now, we're running our reset program. We're seeing astronomical amounts of weight loss, brain health, digestive health, gut health improving in the women that are in the group now. We are starting a new group tomorrow, October 1st, but that doesn't mean that you have to wait till the next 10 weeks before we start another reset. We will be adding people into the group, and you'll just have to be mindful of what week you're on. But it is a 10-week program. We walk you through. We're there constantly coaching you with live calls each week in our private Facebook group. We have community, recipes, meal plans, nutrition, and how to optimize all the areas of holistic health. So meet us over there for further information. I hope to see some of you join and take back your life, guys. It's time to thrive. It's time to rock and roll. It's time to live, right? I love you guys, and I appreciate you all, and I will be back next week with another topic. And catch me over on the socials. Subscribe, like, I appreciate it. I did see that somebody made a donation. I really appreciate that. It's going towards the cause of functional medicine and holistic healing. Okay? I love you guys. Have a great night, and I will see you on the socials. And until next week, take care, and I love you. Much love.